Hey guys, it's Daniel, and this is my review of episode 18 of Power Rangers Dino SuperCharge, The Rangers Rock. This episode is filled with build-up for the next two episodes of Dino SuperCharge, which are basically the two-part finale, even though they're technically separate. The episode starts out with Sledge approaching his ship with his entourage. There, he explains where he's been this whole time. He escaped the ship, but before escaping, while walking in the hallway near the cells, he actually uncovered these green eggs that are part of his next big step. Remember, these green eggs, they're going to play a big role in the next episode. The Aqua Ranger spots them and hides in the bushes. While he's been away, he actually traveled the world with the help of his rusty jetpack. But instead of just taking a vacation, he's been planting these green eggs in multiple different countries around the world. Cassandra is understandably very hurt by this, considering she thought he was basically dead for the several months that Snide took control. They go into the ship and use the Dark Energem as a power source in an attempt to make the ship work again. At the base, we see Shelby researching a large rock where Zenowing actually explains that with the help of certain rocks, like the Geo rocks, he was able to create all the Rangers' Zords. Shelby is understandably shocked by this. Zenowing actually says that he could help teach Shelby how to make a Zord out of the rock. The male Rangers are goofing around at the Dinobite Cafe's kitchen, where Kendall interrupts. She explains that James has figured out some new urgent information and that they should all meet her and James in the base below. Before getting the information from James, Keeper explains to the Rangers that in order to unlock the full power of all the Energems, they must destroy the Dark Energem. This is kind of weird to me because this was never brought up before, and it just seems like a plot device to encourage the destruction of the Dark Energem. But then again, I don't think the Rangers need more of a reason to destroy the Dark Energem, considering it's the cause of a lot of problems that they've been having. James is there to deliver the shocking news to the Rangers that A, Sledge is alive, and B, his ship is not destroyed, and that the Dark Energem is located inside the ship. The Rangers automatically come up with a plan on the fly to use the Megazords in order to just crush the ship, eliminating all the issues that they've been having, which is kind of funny to me because a lot of Rangers in the past have never brought up the idea of just using the Megazord to end all their issues. But at the end of that conversation, they don't want to use the Megazords because they feel like if they do use the Megazord, they won't know for sure that the Dark Energem is destroyed or not. And then Shelby comes up with this idea to actually perform a sneak attack and make her way into the ship and crush the Dark Energem with something. This way they know for sure that the Dark Energem is destroyed. Everybody agrees that Shelby's plan is the superior plan, and they prepare themselves to go for a sneak attack onto Sledge's ship. At the evil ship, Sledge promises to marry Poisandra, and quickly after that realizes that the Rangers are on their way. He comes up with the plan to bring out Medusa, a brand new monster who has the power to turn people into stone using his amulet. We see the Rangers running through the forest trying to find Sledge's ship, and of course their whole plan gets ruined when Medusa shows up. After a little bit of fighting, he ends up turning most of the Rangers into stone, except for Shelby, Prince Philip, and James. And Medusa's about to turn them into stone too, until Heckle actually shows up and attacks Medusa, making him flee. Shelby automatically feels guilty and responsible for the other Rangers turning into stone, because if it wasn't for her making the plan, they wouldn't be in the forest in the first place. Little side note, Medusa claims to have destroyed the Kyoruger galaxy by himself. That's the name of the Japanese season that Dino Charge takes its footage from. After they teleport the Rangers, now in statue form, back to the base, Prince Philip, James, and Keeper attempt to convince Shelby to possibly create her own Zord. The reasoning behind this is because the Rangers who are not stoned cannot control the other Rangers' Zords while they're stoned. So they have no choice but to rely on Shelby to create a brand new Zord. While Shelby is hesitant in the beginning, she starts work fairly quickly and goes through different dinosaur DNA, and she quickly chooses the Spinosaurus, a very large dinosaur with huge things on its back. After Shelby is basically done with all the ingredients to make a Zord, which includes different kinds of minerals with metal properties and like DNA, the last one is kind of tacky. She needs the spirit of a warrior to help enclose the rock and make everything properly mixed. So of course she turns to Keeper, and Keeper agrees to seal it with his spirit. As soon as this happens, it lights up, falls off the table, and then sort of burrows under the ground and breaks the floor open because of how hot it is. Immediately, they rely on Keeper's enhanced abilities to attempt to find where the egg's headed before it hatches. She also gets a Spinozord Dino Charger made. While in the forest trying to find the Spinozord, they actually run into Heckle. Shelby quickly asks why he helped her, her. And of course he doesn't answer and makes it like he didn't actually help her even though he helped her anyway. Medusa shows up and attempts to interrupt their conversation. The Rangers morph and battle Medusa. After a little bit of the battle goes by, Medusa ends up dropping the amulet. Shelby quickly takes advantage of the situation and takes out her Dino Morpher to blast it into pieces, but Heckle claims that in order to fully destroy it, they need to combine their powers. And Heckle and Shelby end up destroying the amulet and its powers together. When this happens, the Rangers in the base that were turned to stone are now their normal selves. Before Heckle goes away, he warns Shelby and says that it would be very wise for her and the other Rangers to get off this planet, indicating that he knows something about Sledge's master plan. Shelby, Philip, and James join in with Keeper to fight Medusa in a rock quarry. Medusa grows, and of course the issue arises that they cannot form any Megazord to fight Medusa. But of course, the Spinozord shows up, fights Medusa a little bit. The Aqua Ranger Zord, as well as the Graphite Ranger Zord, combines with the Spinozord to create the SuperCharge Megazord. This brand new Megazord formation is super powerful and knocks Medusa back into his normal size. The other Rangers show up morphed, but before they could battle Medusa, he summons a whole army of Vivix and Spike Balls, proving a very difficult battle in front of them. So they split up and they defeat the Vivix and Spike Balls. Tyler has a brand new formation for his special T-Rex Supercharge mode, using the Spinocharger that creates a brand new boomerang-themed attack that he uses against Medusa. But in the end, what destroys Medusa is the combined power of all 10 Rangers together for a victory charge. After Medusa is destroyed, Sledge's ship is finally fully powered up with the help of the Dark Energem, and they go into space. The Rangers notice Sledge's ship flying into the air and realize that they failed and they cannot retrieve the Dark Energem on ground anymore. Sledge and Poisandra once again reconfirm that they're having a wedding, and Sledge basically says that the Rangers don't know what they're in for and that he has a big plan, and the episode ends with Shelby explaining to the other Rangers in the base what Heckle told her, that they should get off of planet Earth to be safe. This of course makes them nervous, and the episode ends with a big "to be continued" sign. This episode is another episode with a big amount of information, but it's definitely an entertaining ride from the beginning to the end. We get introduced to the brand new Spinozord, as well as character development for Shelby. It was fairly interesting to find out more about how Zenowing created the Zords, even though it's kind of unrealistic. It was a very unique plot to see a Ranger create a Zord herself. It's kind of funny to me as she's thinking about what Zenowing told her on how to make the Zord. There's like this creepy CGI Zenowing right next to her saying everything that he said earlier on in the episode. The Spinozord is quite gigantic, and I like the new Spinocharge Megazord, even though from what I understand it doesn't appear too frequently because the footage that they used in this episode, if I'm not mistaken, is from a movie or something, from the Super Sentai footage. Medusa is a pretty cool looking monster, even though the monster turning people into stone bit is kind of old in the universe of Power Rangers. It was quite interesting to see most of the Rangers turn to stone, apart for 3 of them. I didn't expect them to stone most of them. It was interesting to see Heckle help out the Rangers when they're in need. Even though this whole thing is like kinda cliche and you know where it's going, it's still an interesting thing to see after seeing how evil he was. It's pretty cool to have Sledge back, as well as the original villains, playing more of a major role. This episode was filled with action and epic battles. It was pretty cool to see Tyler's new T-Rex Supercharge mode with the Spinocharger. Tyler and Shelby actually show some affection in this episode with holding hands and putting their arms around each other, much more so than the previous episode where we really didn't see much of that occurring. Even though it's not necessarily said on screen, you could tell that their relationship is gradually growing. Overall, I'd give this episode a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed this one. I thought it could be a little bit better, but it was action-packed. I thought the effects were pretty cool, and I like to see the Rangers get proactive and attempt to invade Sledge's ship. This episode made me like Shelby even more. Even though she sort of had to be encouraged to make the Zord, she destroyed the amulet and sort of took a little bit of a leadership role, and it was pretty cool to see the whole group of 10 Dino Charge Rangers in on the battle this time around. If you like this review, please give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you'd like this review and want to see more Dino SuperCharge reviews, please click the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate that as well. Comment below what you thought about this episode. I'd love to read what you guys think. And of course, you guys could follow me on social media at blackandblue572 on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!